Well, good morning. Welcome to the first installment of Fundamental Friday. And as I said, this is bare bones fundamentals, and this is where we're going to start. Now, this is the Revell 41 Willys kit. This kit was released back in the early 2000s, originally as the John Mazmanian kit. Please be aware that as these kits are released, you're going to find that they're going to develop some mold lines. We'll explain that a little bit later on. When this kit was first released, it would take me maybe 45 minutes to prep the body. Now it takes almost 3 hours. This is what I'm saying. As the molds get older, they develop lines and everything. That all has to be removed. So the first thing to do, take everything out of the kit. Open up your plastic bags, lay everything out where you can see it. Now, not so much on the newer kits or the new releases, but this is more along the lines of the older ones. You're going to have to pay attention to how the parts are mounted. Okay? Now, you have here where it's just a straight cut. Okay? Now, first things first, X-Acto knife with a new blade. You should have at least 100 of the X-Acto blades laying around. Okay? When you're removing these parts, you want a nice, clean, sharp, clean cut. Okay? So, the thing of it is, with these, it's just a straight cut. Okay? On the older kits from back in the day with the AMT and MPC, it's sometimes the way they molded it. You have to pay attention, because if you straight cut some of those parts, what's going to happen is you're going to take a chunk out of the part itself. Then you're going to have to do repair work. It takes a little time, it takes a little practice. Be patient with this. This is not something you just go at. Those two words, patience and perseverance. Perseverance and patience they're the ultimate. Okay? So, nice clean work surface. Brand new blade. Nice clean cut. To save yourself time and effort, to make sure, hang on to the part, to make sure that you don't miss anything, clean off that little bit of excess. Alright, now, that's one head. Also be aware of how the other parts are mounted. Okay, don't press down. Okay, you might have to turn this a certain way because you've got a part that's done like this. You press down, you're allowed to bend it, cause it to become mishappen, or even worse, break. And we're pretty blessed with this end of the deal. Okay, once again, you got that little bit. Trim that off. Take your time when you're doing this, because this will save you heartache down the road. Because if you don't and you miss this and you've got that little piece of flash left over from where you cut it off the sprue, you go to paint it, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Now once again, look here. See how this is rounded here? And you have to be careful cutting that. Now, two ways of doing this. You can take a pair of side cutters, clip it, and that ensures that you're going to have that curve. Alright, so I didn't lose anything there. And all I have to do is carefully take the knife. Now naturally you're going to go back over this with a little bit of fine sandpaper to make sure all these lines are done. Okay? You continue to do this and remove this from the kit, all the parts. Now, the easiest way that I have found, okay, to save yourself time and effort, decide what colors you're going to paint first. Now, I run on the premise of I run 3 colors through all of my builds. 3 main colors. If it's a dark blue car, light blue interior, maybe I'll go with silver, maybe I'll go with white. But those colors run through the entire build. And that includes your wires, color your frames, your shocks, etc., etc. Now, this is going to be aluminum. So, I'll have a bag. These aren't that expensive. They can be reused. All your aluminum parts, you cut off, they go in this bag. Seal it. Okay? Now, the engine. This is going to go in another bag because that's, say we're going to do this in Hemi orange. Okay, it is a Hemi. We'll do it in Hemi orange. Okay? So, your engine blocks, your water pump, your heads, say your shocks, everything that you're going to paint orange goes in that bag. So on and so forth. Everything that's semi-gloss black, that all goes into a separate bag. Also, my suggestion is to buy the gallon freezer bags. Now you can put your bodies and everything else in there like that also. Okay? So, this way everything's separated. Now, when you go to sand your parts, you just start with one bag. Alright? You start, however, if you got mold lines and everything else like that, you're going to have to go back to, say, 320 to start with. Okay? Then you work your way up. Now, I take everything all the way up to 12,000 with the body. With these parts, for the most part, a little bit of 1,500 if you trim carefully. A little bit of 1,500 and you're done. Put the parts back in the bag. Okay? Then what you do is you go on to the next bag. And that way your entire kit is prepped. You've worked every single piece to the degree that you want it to be. The most you're going to take your parts up to that are clean is 1,500. Now, there are some times where, such as a seat or something else like that, it has a mold line. Okay, you're going to have to step that down. You're going to have to go to 320, maybe just down to 400, just enough to get those parts. You want to take all the seam lines off. Every mold line, every seam line, every divot, everything has to be smooth. Once you have done that, now you're getting ready to where everything's set up and to be painted. Now, one other thing, excuse me, when you are in the winter months, you can't paint outside. Okay, well, why don't you prep up a bunch of kits? Okay, and this way you might have 5 kits, all right, and you've got 5 bags of aluminum. Paint all the aluminum at once. You got 5 bags of semi-gloss black parts. Paint them all at once. This way, when you have a chance to build, you've got 5 or 6 kits that are completely painted and they're ready to be built. This way, when you go back into the winter months, you can just build at your heart's content. You don't have to worry about anything. Like I said, this is all going to be just fundamentals. Every single time it's going to be a little bit of how I do things to make things easier, to make things smoother. Modeling should be fun. It should be enjoyable. And I don't care if you're just building box stock or you're building full-blown, full-detailed pro mod cars. It doesn't matter. The basics are what saves you down the road. The basics save you from struggling, from heartbreak and heartache, because if you don't take your time prepping and you leave a mold line and you shoot the paint on, well, now you got to throw it back into the tub, or you say, well, that's just good enough. No, just good enough isn't good enough. If you're going to do it right. As I said before, everybody chooses to do this the way they want to do it. What we're doing the Fundamental Fridays for is for the individuals that want to improve their skills and want to make their cars look as realistic as they possibly can. So this was the first step in the direction that we're going to go in. So until next Friday, it's the old man from Lone Wolf Custom Painting. You all have a great week. God bless. I'll talk to you soon.